Yeah.
Hey, this is Warren Redlick. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm here with Paper Bag Investor. We're going to talk about Lemonade, which some people are calling the next Tesla. I'm wearing the Tesla is the next Tesla t-shirt you can buy on elonbits.com. But let's dive in here. Paper Bag Investor, how do you refer to yourself? And could you tell my audience a little bit about yourself?
Hi, Warren. Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, you can just call me Paper Bag. And yes, I am from an engineering background. I studied mechanical engineering, worked in manufacturing engineering. I help my day job right now. I help part own and operate a small business here in Canada, but I've been an investor since 2009 and missed Tesla in 2013. Was watching it then, really like thought I missed the train, got on the Tesla train in 2018, 19, really betting my whole portfolio on that. And yeah, and now I'm still looking with my channel, really looking for companies that have huge potential, kind of like Tesla did, and I would say it still does, but also really high conviction and less downside risk. So trying to find out and seek some kind of, sometimes those companies emerge over time, but really trying to find them. And yeah, why the paper bag? It's a good way to stay anonymous. It's a fun branding little identity piece, and it's also a fun way to poke fun at kind of the idea that what's a lot of people think, investment analyst needs to be in a fancy suit and tie in a fancy tower to be somehow, worthy of opinion or something or discussion. So anyone, with any kind of background or look can jump in and really learn about it and analyzing a company. So yeah,
and let's be clear, instead of suits, t-shirts at elonbits.com are a really good way to be an investor.
There you go. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Shameless. So Lemonade is a cool, refreshing drink, and it is also an insurance company. It's a fairly new insurance company. They have some kind of way they think they're going to be successful. I believe they are growing fast. Can you, and for background for folks who don't know, I used to work for an insurance company. I was a trial lawyer. I studied insurance academically when I was in college and grad school. So I'm kind of into this topic. Can you tell the audience a little bit about what Lemonade Insurance is and why it's special and you expect it to grow?
Yeah, Lemonade Insurance is a full stack insurance provider, and really
quick start. Full stack. What does full stack mean?
It means they're selling you the insurance. They're taking the risk of the insurance, so they do structure it with a lot of reinsurance right now. But they kind of control the destiny of the actual insurance products they're underwriting.
So the full stack is the vertical, because they're sorry, I'm cutting you off from my question, but you've got auto insurance, you've got home insurance, you've got renter's insurance. I think there's a couple other kinds of insurance they sell. So there's a broad spectrum. Yeah. They're trying to reach a broad spectrum of what I would call property casualty insurance. I don't know that they're doing life insurance yet, but full stack, you mean some insurance companies do the narrow band of like selling insurance, and they farm out other parts of the insurance vertical to others. Is that what you mean by full stack?
100%. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sorry I cut you off. Full stack insurance provider.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. That's built on a fully digital platform. This is versus, legacy companies. It could be older companies that might have a lot of, obviously a digital aspect to it and then trying to make themselves efficient, but may have a lot of, I would kind of call, inefficiencies or inefficient systems and maybe structuring that I call them conflicting internal interests, where you have people that literally inside of an organization do not want to change, do not want to become more efficient. If they move to a really simple, streamlined, simple, clean app, like your brokers don't want that because it means they're out of a job. So
it sounds a lot like legacy auto.
100%. Yeah. So it's like a new, fresh eyes coming at an old industry that's sort of seeing it from a new first principled way. There's a lot of there's a lot of advantages I could see, or I could kind of outline that I see if you move to this fully digital, simple, clean structure over a legacy system structure. So I could get into a few of
Yeah,
those
yeah.
if you
So,
want
so
to.
I mean, well, really quick, just to back up what you said, I worked for Allstate Insurance Company for 3.5 years.
Hmm.
And I saw inefficiencies and I saw bureaucracy and I saw internal conflicts. I saw a lot of what you're saying. There's the sales, the insurance sales agents, and then there's the claims staff, and there's sort of this divide between sales and claims. And if I
Mhm.
worked in claims, and we always felt like sales was favored, and there's a lot of stuff like
Right.
that going on. So I
Yeah,
want to back you up on that, but please go ahead.
fair enough.
How do you see this digital platform being superior?
Well, there's obviously efficiency in administration. So everything can be done in one simple app. There's no papers, there's no brokers. They can use pretty sophisticated chat bots to process and funnel customers through either educating themselves somehow or signing them up for something. You can have really simple claims process where people just take pictures and a video of themselves that's all recorded to make a claim. I think many claims, I think it's like a third are processed instantly and have no human involvement whatsoever. But you also can be efficient in even expanding. So if you want even just geographic expansion, there's no brick and mortar shops, there's no physical buildings. You can literally expand into a new country with maybe a few employees to zero employees in that country.
Okay, I
Um,
gotta stop you. So there's two things I heard that really tweaked my funny bone as someone who worked in insurance and worked as a lawyer dealing with insurance companies.
yeah, yeah.
One, a third of the claims are resolved instantly. That seems really vulnerable to fraud. And there's a lot of fraud in insurance claims. Two, geography is not a problem of the bureaucracy or the structure of the company. It's a problem of the regulatory environment. Like here in the United States, there are
Mhm.
50 states and they all have, plus Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico and whatever. There's Guam,
Right.
there's a few other territories. And every state and every territory has its own insurance set up, and you have to get regulatory approval. This is why Tesla insurance is
Mhm.
fairly slow to roll out. I think Tesla is probably on the same rough page of let's not be bogged down by bureaucracy.
For
And it's
sure.
taken them a while to roll. They just reached 7 states. I think they're hoping to reach several more states this year, but it's not that
Mhm.
easy. So a little bit, I'm hearing you minimizing the challenges that face a real insurance company.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's probably the regulatory issues are the bigger bottleneck for expansion. But I mean, Lemonade wants to be eventually, like, their ambitions are to be a pretty global company. Whether that comes, actually occur, or whether they're successful or not is to be determined. But I would think being able to expand, it's still that's sort of a secondary bottleneck. After you have approvals, still need to expand somehow. But 100% that the regulatory approvals and all the hoops and whatnot that you have to go through to get that is really what stops people. It's not like actually just rolling out an app. It's not like rolling out Facebook back in the day and you're everywhere in the world in moments. It's a much more difficult process. So
When I read about Lemonade, my impression is your point about the digital platform is well taken, that I can see
Mhm.
efficiencies there. I thought
Mhm.
maybe the bigger thing that Lemonade was pushing was that they're using AI to
Mhm.
handle maybe underwriting and claims. I'm not exactly sure how the AI comes into play, but that artificial intelligence will do a better job of underwriting. Is somebody comes in and says, I want insurance. Underwriting decides what price to charge that customer based on their risk profile. You don't want to take somebody with 3 drunk driving convictions and terrible credit and give them the same insurance premium as somebody who has a clean driving record and great credit. There's
Mhm.
things that companies use to decide what's this person's premium going to be. You got a 17-year-old with 2 drunk driving convictions, you got a 45-year-old who's got a clean record, you're probably going to give the 45-year-old lower premiums. So what's your understanding? And I think AI is probably exciting to Tesla fans. So what's your understanding of how AI plays a role in Lemonade's future success?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're going to use any kind of traditional proxies or data or history of a person to as part of their underwriting. Uh, So one thing they talk about, I mean Lemonade Management talks about is kind of a improved underwriting because of the digital nature of the app. And I'm being honest, I'm not like totally sold on this. Whether I think they would mean something, but how much is something? For sure, it might be really significant, might be slightly significant. And what they talk about is, I kind of call it their nuance data, or sort of like the digital fingerprints you leave when you're looking at when you're signing up for an insurance product with them, is like, what time of day did you sign up? Did you read the fine print, or did you skip over the fine print, or did you carefully review all the options, or just whiz through the application? Did you sign up, I don't know, at home, at work, while you're driving your car? I don't know. Did they what Google search or what funnel kind of brought you to Lemonade? Did you just organically go there? Did you search for cheapest insurance near me and then find them or something? And basically they suggest that you take all these signals together, and then using AI basic to evaluate the combinations between all of them. Maybe there's hundreds. Maybe they have like little steps, like if you check some or go into some box and versus not. You could have thousands of variables, like they're kind of one way or the other. And then determine, are you a little bit riskier or safer person? Like when I hear that, I kind of go, okay, I could think maybe some people they would know, okay, we know with some assurance, with enough data, this person is safer, and maybe this person is riskier because they were driving at 3 a.m. and they're speeding, and they looked up the app and they didn't check everything. I don't know.
Well, so
but you kind of want how much is that is certainly I think up for debate, and they're pretty secretive, kind of their secret sauce on it. They say it's significant, and like there'll be a button that one person clicks and the other person doesn't, and you can have a huge skew between sort of the risk profiles that you sort of assign to someone. And I'm sure they're layering that on top of everything traditional, your drive, your background and history probably being some of the biggest part of that. But
right. Well, so what one of the challenges of talking about AI and machine learning is what we see with Tesla, right? Tesla has the most advanced AI for driving, FSD beta, and it's not that great yet. And what it needs is, it needs to be exposed to a lot of data to get better. And obviously an insurance company that's doing a lot of underwriting is going to get exposed to a lot of data. An insurance company that's processing a lot of claims is going to get exposed to a lot of data. And I suppose the theory would be that as they bring in data points, but initially that they won't necessarily be better than anyone else because they haven't done the learning yet. And it could take, many iterations of the software, and they may need their own dojo to, when they have high volumes of data coming in. I don't think the volumes of data are going to be anywhere close to FSD beta's volume of data, but they need to process that data. They need to train their system to better determine what underwriting is. You're going to need, loss functions to figure out, how is this? I mean, the loss function is how much money do we lose on this customer? How much do we make on this customer? But and then I think there's a side point here, which is when you submit your plan for insurance to a state regulator, they want to know how you're pricing. And they want to make sure, for example, you're not discriminating on the basis of race or other characteristics. And if your AI algorithm unconsciously picks up and starts discriminating on the basis of race or some other algorithm, well, I could see the insurance regulator saying, we don't really understand what your algorithm is doing, because fundamentally, we don't understand what machine learning algorithms do. That's one of the big principles behind. And I wonder if insurance regulators will allow AI in underwriting. They probably won't stop it in claims. In other words, a claim comes in, are we going to pay this claim or not? How much are we going to pay? But when we're deciding how much to price insurance to this customer, I'm not, if it turns out that Black people click that button more than white people, right? and you charge people more insurance if they click that button, is that effectively a form of racism? And I worry that you could run into problems with that. Do you have any thoughts on that?
It's definitely a risk, and Lemonade's taken some flack and criticism around that. What fair was it? Last year sometime they put out like a Twitter post kind of praising their AI and even talking about I mean, you could talk about AI for them on the claims side as well, because they would say that they have better, fraud detection, or there's certainly fraud detection potential than a traditional insurer, because everything's digital and you can read facial, little details as sort of cue. Is there a higher risk they're lying, or
Yeah, I also think,
but
here's something
but
people don't realize about the claims process. Okay, I'm an attorney and I used to work for Allstate Insurance Company, and I've got a claim
yeah.
against Allstate Insurance Company, and I call the claim rep and, oh, I worked with this guy before. Does he give me a slightly better deal than he gives somebody else? The AI isn't going to do that. Probably.
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
think we're
Yeah.
going to have that kind of rapport.
Yeah.
So I think to some extent there may be, and then the plaintiff's law firms hire claim reps when they retire. So if the claim rep is favorable to the plaintiff's lawyer for the last year or so of his career, he might be working himself into a job with the plaintiff's lawyer. So there's a little bit of problems with the humans in the system that they may have shifting biases and other issues.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Though I mean, I would say Lemonade, maybe that answers your question. I'm sure Lemonade's answer would be, well, we'll be better than human sort of system, the bias that we would already carry. Can they prove that to regulators? Will they really get in hot water for that? I think that is a risk, especially if they're successful, become cash flow positive, they really grow into something. Then they're going to attract more attention. But
right. Well, they're not going to. It's not a regulatory issue on the claim side. The danger on the claim side is you do a bad job evaluating claims and you get sued and you get hit for large amounts of money. And then there's something called the bad faith claim, which most people don't know about. You have $25,000 insurance policy in your car, you get in an accident, you paralyze someone, and Lemonade's AI system says, we're not going to pay. And it ends up going to trial and you get a $10 million verdict. And the guy who had $25,000 insurance says, hey, you guys didn't represent me properly as my insurer. You should have paid this claim. And now Lemonade's on the hook for $10 million on something they thought was only a $25,000 risk. So now the same issue with humans. I had a claim like that with humans in the process. That one of my most successful cases in my legal career, where they didn't pay out when they should have, and they dragged their feet, and they paid a lot more than they should have. So it can happen with humans too, but I think the danger is that if your AI isn't careful,
it's more catastrophic.
I think it's almost like you need a Lemonade beta, and you need humans in the driver's seat watching it drive to just wait. We got to fix this one. You probably don't want to let it run free right away.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So what are some other big advantages you see for Lemonade that might put it on top of Allstate, State Farm, et cetera?
Yeah, I mean, if they want to offer every product that sort of your average retail consumer could need, eventually offer that. And so there's obviously bundling of products that any traditional insurer would also have. But if there is advantage already in their artificial intelligence in profiling a customer somehow, then obviously that's going to be magnified. If you can have multiple products, even you can have more data you're bringing in about a customer and be more certain that they are really a more careful person versus a more careless person. Maybe you really do want them as a customer, you can offer them the more competitive rates. Obviously just being lean and nimble, it's being fully digital, you can easily update, make changes to policies, to processes, and roll those out. And you can also offer, I think, more niche insurance products like renters insurance. Even they offered e-bike insurance. I don't know where that's offered. I'd have to forget offhand, but like little products like that I think because they could have more efficient administration, easier rollout, they can offer some of those products. Not that those would be huge money maker products necessarily, but they could be sort of on ramps for younger first time insurance customers. And that is kind of their strategy too, is they're really trying to target younger consumers, I think, which being really digitally friendly, I think, is advantageous to that, or naturally attracts that.
I would say the potential for making money on younger customers is much bigger because traditional auto insurers, on auto insurance in particular, traditional auto charges more for younger drivers.
Gotcha.
And that's because a lot of younger drivers are more dangerous drivers or more risk, higher risks. But
Right.
if your AI can pick out who are the safe drivers, like I'll just say, I think my daughter, my younger daughter anyway, my older daughter I'm not so sure about. My older daughter lives in New York and doesn't drive, but my younger daughter is a very careful driver. And there are a lot of young drivers who aren't so careful. And it wouldn't be obvious just by looking at her, but maybe if she clicks the right button or there's something else going on, maybe you're able to pick up on this is a safer driver than those other people, than those other young people. And so her price for insurance with everybody else might be $1,000 a year, but Lemonade might be able to come in and say, hey, we'll sell to you for $800 a year, which she's going to jump at. And the cost for a regular driver might be $900, but the cost for her might be $500. The cost for the good young drivers might be $500. So you actually make a really good return on those drivers if you can select out the safest ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as a corollary, you're then shifting. There's this concept in insurance called adverse selection. What ends up happening is if you're able to select out the good ones, then the other insurers get stuck with the bad ones and their costs go up and they have to raise their premiums more. As if there's a pool of 1,000 drivers and 500 of them are great drivers and 500 of them are crappy drivers. If you can tell which ones are the good drivers and you offer them a lower premium, then they jump at you, and the other guys are stuck with the 500 who are crappier drivers who are higher risk, and they have to charge even more, which is regulators don't like that. Right? Regulators don't, they understand it, but they don't always like that. So it's a tricky area, but I could see where there's potential there. So what's the, how big is Lemonade now?
Well, they're what are they, like 1.6 billion market cap? So pretty.
And how much revenue do they have?
In-force premiums, last quarter was like 380 million, I believe it was.
Okay. And they're probably losing money early stage because they're just getting started.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so what's the total market cap of the big insurers that they are potentially competing with in the United States, at least? Or what's the total, how much can they grow? I'm just sort of wondering, how much can they grow? How big could they get?
It's massive. It's massive. I mean, just US auto only is over 300 billion in premiums. So I mean, worldwide, I think premiums or insurance market is somewhere like $6 trillion range. So, I mean, the sky's the limit. And, you kind of, if they even took a small slice, like 5% of the US market, well, that's 15 billion of just the auto. Right. And they're, I think they're valued at just over 4 times their book of business right now. But a lot of more mature companies might be like 1 to 2 times their book of business. So, I mean, if you grew, and there's probably with that point, if they took 5% of the US market, say in the next 10 years or something, that's, I mean, whether it's 15 billion, and you think they would at least have a 2x multiple on that. So that could be $30 billion company.
So there's a potential 20 or 30x here.
Oh, to me, if they're successful, like they could 100x, like if they're or more, because they're ambitious, especially from where they're at right now. Okay. That's if they're successful. It's I talked with Emmett and Matt on Good Soil about this, and we talked about that. They're really a binary outcome. Like you just have huge upside, but definitely risks. Whether is, to me, the risks are what they're doing. Is it really is it really good enough, or does it really make enough of a difference? Or is insurance okay enough for young people, for old people, for anybody who's just buying insurance? Is that fine as it is, and what they're offering isn't big enough difference to really attract enough attention or success? And also, I would say another big risk would be their execution. Are they executing well? Are they actually fine tuning the AI algorithms? Or are they missing things? Are they wasting money on sales and marketing or campaigns that are?
So you're saying prototype insurance is easy, but scaling insurance is hard.
Yeah, 100%. That's a good way to say it. Yeah.
Okay.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. Like to me, those are the biggest risks. And another one we like is there, and this kind of touches on how they could be using AI as well now or into the future, would be like the one way I was describing was like people just using their app on the phone, that kind of funneling process. But another way would be like their lemonade car. It's only offered in Illinois and Tennessee, I think it is right now.
Yeah, they just got started, so they're expanding slowly.
Just got started, and they acquired.
I think they acquired a company that does car insurance,
Metro Mile, that has more data already, and what their differentiator there in the car space is that they're collecting. You have the LMND app on your phone, and then it's using tracking data, and
it's tracking your phone to see like your speed or your geographic
speed
location
and your location.
Are you driving in dangerous intersections?
It can tell, like, I guess, yeah. Are you looking at your phone, reading, you answering texts while you're in traffic, et cetera, et cetera. Or how much do you drive? Are you driving lots or just a little bit here and there? So in that sense, how much data they can pull in, you certainly think that's going to be way better than, or has potential to be way better than traditional insurance that doesn't have any of that. I think that's a risk, though, as well. See, what I like about Lemonade is they're trying to do everything. So everything's all under one roof, which is a big advantage, I think, if they're successful. But it's also a risk if there's certain product lines that competitors do better than them, and maybe way better than them. Like you think about, like, if Tesla will always have the best insurance possible, or more. And by best, I mean best insurance product, most accurate underwriting and risk profiling, because there's so much, like, they can literally not just see the data of the phone in your pocket or sitting on your dash. They can literally see the world around you and how close you drove to that cyclist or did not, or except, like, they have so much data, so much more sophistication than anybody's to really evaluate how are you driving. So I think they'll always have, if you're a safe driver, like talking about that pool of people, well, other people will see them kind of like, maybe traditional see them like little bit of granularity between people based on their history. Lemonade is maybe a little bit better because they can actually pull out some data, but I think Tesla could be even significantly better than that. And that is a risk. Like, are there certain companies that come into different specific product lines and do it better than they can, where they like you put sensors in your home or something, and they just sell you a box of sensors, and then they know, like, better than anybody how risky your home is for fire, or floods or things like that, or freezing. So that's still to be determined whether that comes in. I mean, you could make the argument, though, insurance industries are so huge that, and it is tough. There is sort of constraints on how much somebody could rush in and grow anyways, because there's regulatory challenges there, that there still could be successful, even if other people are, maybe it's not a winner take everything, but multiple large winners. So yeah, some thoughts there on that.
So you brought up Tesla, which I was actually going to ask you about Tesla. Mm-hmm. So Tesla currently globally is going to sell maybe 1.5 to 2 million cars this year. Mm-hmm. I think they're growing fast, and within 5, 10, in 8 years, I think they may be selling 20 million cars a year globally. So there's two different ways I see Tesla being a threat to the Lemonade story. One is Tesla sells all the cars and everybody chooses Tesla insurance because Tesla insurance is going to be more accurate than anybody else's insurance because of what you just said. The really big threat that I see is that Tesla deploys self-driving cars, that we end up in a robo-taxi world. Those who follow my channel know I believe we're headed towards a robo-taxi world where very few people bother to own a car. And the cars are inherently much safer. And Tesla, once the cars are driving themselves, Tesla is responsible. The creator of the self-driving software, if the car is driving itself, if it's quote level 4, level 5, whatever. I hate that level distinction, but we can have that conversation another time. But if the cars drive themselves and they're very, very safe, number one, you have fewer accidents to have claims over. Number two, they're owned by large entities who self-insure rather than using third-party insurers. So Tesla might own its own fleet. Somebody else might buy 1,000 Cybertrucks and deploy them as a Cybertruck, robo-taxi fleet. All these different possibilities are out there. But ultimately, the auto claim, this doesn't affect the homeowners necessarily. It doesn't affect renters. I'm not sure it affects e-bike, but for certain lines of insurance, and a large one is the car insurance industry, it could wipe it out. There might not be a car insurance industry if we go to a robo-taxi world, and that could happen in 5 to 10 years. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
That's why you're invested in Tesla and Lemonade, right?
100%. Yeah. And to be clear, I would agree that Tesla, from your shirt, I would be right on board with your shirt that Tesla is the next Tesla. That is the vast majority of my portfolio. Yeah, shout out to the shirt there. But the Lemonade, it's interesting. It's in my portfolio. If I really felt they were going to be successful, I would push harder into them. But yeah, back to your question. It's certainly a risk for Lemonade. That if the auto market was wiped out, I don't know. I feel like they still could be successful in other areas, other product lines, because there's so many other areas of your life where you need insurance for as well. I also feel like if that was a huge risk, like the stock became overvalued, and I feel like you could probably see that coming on the horizon and get out before Wall Street did.
Yeah, when the robo-taxi network goes live, that's when you sell. Right? Yeah. You see the freight train coming, and Wall Street doesn't see it yet because they still don't believe in, when they start the first robo-taxi services and they're operating in San Francisco and they're operating in Miami and they're working. At a certain point, you say, I see where this is going for the car industry or the car insurance industry. I talked to, just on the side here, I have friends who are plaintiffs' personal injury lawyers. I remember I was telling one of them about this future that's coming, and I think he cried. I think he may have, because lawyers hate the idea that people might stop having accidents.
Right.
They don't want us to be safe. They want to have their income.
They want to thrive on that. Yeah.
My friend who's a marijuana smoking criminal defense lawyer didn't want marijuana to be legal because he made so much money defending marijuana cases.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh man.
Yeah. I'm just a little bit cynical about the legal industry there.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I think even, and I believe that the robo-taxis are coming as well, and that Tesla will be the first one there, and potentially even the only one there. That's a whole nother conversation too.
Yeah, the short answer there is, and the same thing with Starlink, by the way, is if Tesla gets there first and they build up a really impressive robo-taxi network or Starlink network, the cost to the second player to invest to catch up for second place, where you're going to have higher cost structure, and you're going to have to underprice, and then they're going to be able to underprice you because they're lower cost. The return on investment may not be there for player number two.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And if data is massive amounts of data are what's critical to solving it. Yeah. If that's true, then I don't think there'll be another full self-driving player because it's easy people are happy to pay money and use, full self-driving beta and monitor it now. But if there was already a perfect vehicle that could drive you
Yeah, nobody
safely,
wants to take the crappy one.
why would somebody pay money and then self-drive it? Nobody will do that unless you could pay them like a lot, and
Right.
nobody would even have the finances
So
to do that. But yeah,
on the same line with
have to.
Lemonade,
But
we can see
mhm,
that Tesla might have moats. They call them moats, things that make
mhm,
it hard for others to come in and invade the castle. So
for
do
sure.
you see that if Lemonade succeeds, that they're building moats that will be hard? Because, AI pricing insurance. Well, what stops somebody else from adopting,
Mhm,
digital approach and AI? What stops everybody else from doing the same thing, or some other startup, even if the
mhm,
legacy auto insurers,
sure.
property casualty insurers have their own bureaucratic hassles, somebody sees Lemonade's success and say, we can do that. What does Lemonade have a moat here, or more than one?
uh I would say, yeah, if they can, the if their AI is better, it gets better and better, and either fraud prevention and underwriting a person or profiling them, that's in a similar way that could be a moat. If you get enough customers and enough data that you can offer, and you expand and push as hard as you can, uh, that you kind of, then you get attract enough of that data in, that your those AI systems become better than what you had, or better than somebody starting from scratch, significantly better. Then it's going to be hard, because somebody does come in after them, copies the Lemonade, calls it the iced tea or whatever, and comes in with their product. And like, how they're going to have challenges. It's going to be tough. Why as a customer are you going to choose that new company over Lemonade, that unless you're a riskier person, which then, like, that adverse, or that pool of people you said, is you're picking out, in theory, Lemonade could already be attracting and keeping the better customers and offering them the best rates. It depends how quickly things scale, and in a way, maybe regulatory approvals too can kind of be a good and a bad, or could turn into a moat for Lemonade if they do expand, and somebody comes after them and says, oh, we want to do that too. Now it's a little bit, yeah, that's going to be a hurdle of just rapidly growing as well, even if you had all the capital in the world to do it. It's interesting when most, like, in sort of those insure tech companies are more focused on a specific product or product line. So I mean, Lemonade's the only one I'm aware of that it's really looking for, they want to offer you everything and that you might need. So yeah, yeah, it's
One-stop digital shop.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And there's the bundling advantages of that. If they were ever successful too, like longer term, and they really grow globally, then you kind of help. There'd be advantages there too of spreading out your book of business across the world, where you know natural disasters, catastrophes like that, obviously would still affect them and might have more of them they'd see, but of hitting their whole overall book of business, it's a little bit more spread out, that risk that they're taking. So yeah, yeah. And the robotaxi question, just touch on that again, like that, if Tesla just sells all the cars and all the good drivers are gone, because all the good drivers are going to pick Tesla insurance. The only drivers you're left with are the bad drivers. It's not going to be a good business line. I mean, I feel like, yeah, you will be able, as an investor, especially people looking, especially people are interested in Tesla and a robotaxi side of things, or we're going to be able to see that ways out. And I don't think, even if there's robotaxis, like in the next 5 years, there's whatever, somewhere close to 2 billion vehicles. So it's
It's going
like
to take a while.
it did take so long, and maybe you say robotaxis are 5 times more efficient, so maybe you need 400 million robotaxis
Might take
at
20 years. Yeah.
scale.
Yeah.
So there's so much time that your business could still be growing, and you could be evaluating that, like, And there's, I think robo taxis would spread through the US first, but like where I am in Canada, we're typically more we're going to be more conservative and more cautious on things like that. So it's going to take longer for those reasons, let alone like they got to figure out our cold
stoic
winters.
Canadians.
Yeah.
Hey, you haven't figured out to leave winter yet, so
Yeah.
So, I this makes me think more about Tesla's potential, and because I kind of downplay Tesla insurance as a long-term significant driver for Tesla, the company, because I think so many other aspects of Tesla's business are so much bigger. But I could see if Tesla becomes successful in auto insurance and somebody comes in and says, hey, we've got all these customers, why don't we sell them homeowners insurance? Hey, we've got all these customers, why don't we sell them life insurance? And hey, we got all these customers, renters, whatever. There's all kinds of other insurance, and ATV insurance. They're gonna be driving around on cyber quads. Is there potential for Tesla to expand its insurance offerings beyond auto? Is it something that they could do but won't do? Is there something that because I see Zach Kirkhorn figuring that out and saying, "Hey, Elon, why don't we create a subsidiary here?" And you got 2 or 3 guys who are going to head it up, and Elon likes him, says, yeah, run with it. Go ahead. Is that, I mean, I think that might actually be a total threat to the entire industry, not just to Lemonade's plan. And Tesla could do AI too. And they can invest if they think there's potential there. They can invest the capital necessary to catch up or get ahead or whatever. Do you think there's potential for Tesla to expand in insurance in the way that Lemonade's trying to do? And do you think that could be a significant driver for Tesla, the company, or would it be trivial compared to Tesla's other business?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I don't see Tesla like building their own full stack insurance product for everything. I don't, because it doesn't really fit with the mission. So
doesn't fit with the mission. Good point.
It doesn't fit with the missions, and they're pretty laser focused on that. So I could see them, like you said, maybe they partner with other people. I never thought about that, but that could be. I mean, for Tesla, I see it kind of like as a nice. It's like it increases the like robotaxi future is just like insane, just like your shirt showing like we're going to the moon. But even if that
elonbits.com, link in the description below.
even if we're wrong, like maybe it's like, even if robotaxi never occur or take like 40 years from now or something ridiculous, like there's still the Tesla insurance, it's still part of the valuation then in that kind of B scenario, and it could be significant part, not as significant, but still significant. And yeah, and I never thought about that, but they could. I mean, if somebody's like, for the years they drive their Tesla and they're like a 99 score and they're super cautious, courteous driver, I'm guessing,
probably safer at home. They're probably.
I don't have the data, but I'm going to guess those sort of people, just knowing people like that in my life, like they also have a very nice, tidy, clean home, and it's well kept and taken care of. So why wouldn't that translate to other areas of your life? The biggest sort of data source you could it's kind of like, I feel like at the very heart of insurance, like there's all these other things for Lemonade, or they're awesome, like they're efficient and these things we're talking about, but the very heart is like, how can you how accurately can you assess someone's risk?
So you're saying, you just had me going, I'm sorry. So the car, assesses your risk of dying while driving, which is a significant risk, a significant factor in the overall injury and death rate. But the car could also like measure how much you weigh, like for life insurance purposes. Oh no, he gained 20 pounds. We got to raise his life insurance premiums. He's smoking in the car. They got like sensors. They got sensors in the car for the smoking.
Oh, he's eating fast food for the 4th time this week. God,
yeah. Did he order fries again?
He upsized
fries and a milkshake. Oh my God! Raise his life insurance premiums.
I mean,
hey, he ordered kale. Give him a price cut.
I mean, it's not impossible, I guess. And well, like if they can assess your careful or cautious driver
Yeah.
so much better than anybody else, and I think they can. I mean, again, like that scale I talked about, like Lemonade somewhere in there to be determined with as their car rolls out and how successful it is. Like that's true for Tesla. They could I mean, that information is really valuable. Here's here's Joe, and he's a 99 driver for the last 3 years, and he never speeds or swerves or brakes aggressively. And then you couple that with his, where he lives and all the other data that you would normally assess and his background. Oh yeah, we can offer him really enticing, home insurance or.
So he's kind of boring, and you might want your daughter to date him, but she doesn't want to date him because he's kind of boring. He's safe, secure, and calm.
As an insurance company, you love him.
You're trying to hook him up with your daughter, and you're like, that guy's boring. I want to go party. Okay, so we're getting close to. I know you had a kind of limit on when you could go. I have something I want to say at the very end, but is there anything you want to say about Lemonade in particular and/or Tesla before we wrap up? Right,
yeah.
I'm sorry, you have a YouTube channel. I should put a link to the description in the
yeah. You can just
channel.
search Paper Bag Invest.
Let's do that first. Tell people a little bit about your YouTube channel.
Yeah, you can it's Paper Bag Investor. I'm also on Twitter at Paper Bag Invest. And like I kind of said at the start, looking for just trying to look, not trying to push or sell anyone on anything. I'm trying to see things with an open mind and see, hopefully uncover and find what are great opportunities. That's why I would say, I'm bullish on Lemonade, but I'm not like I wouldn't go all in myself because there's definitely huge risks. So yeah, just looking at investment opportunities in that way. You're trying.
So outside of Tesla and Lemonade, are there any other companies you're particularly excited about right now?
Those are the only two I'm holding right now. And I mean, I'm curious about Upstart. Been looking into that.
What do they do?
They basically they connect people for loans with lenders. And also it's similar to Lemonade, but they're just about loans, and they're not actually providing the loans. A little bit different, but they're connecting you with banks or lenders. Okay. But they're giving people access to capital, but they're basically using AI to determine your risk profile.
Okay.
Over thousands of variables again. So
okay, so really quick, I'm just going to wrap up by saying, hey, everybody, check out the t-shirts at elonbits.com. Link in the description below, and there's probably something on the page right now. Check out my other videos. Check out Paper Bag Investor. I'll put a link in the description below. And thank you so much for watching.